Welcome to Martin Survival. Today I'm going to show you how to make a watertight container using a prickly pear cactus pad. So stay with me and we'll be back shortly. Alright, so welcome back to Martin Survival. So as you can see here, we have our cactus pad, and I chose this one because it's a large pad and it's also very thick at the base. So this is going to make an excellent watertight container. And there's a few steps I need to take in order to make this into a proper improvised container, and the first thing is to start removing all of these large spines with my cutting tool here. And I can do this with the cactus pad still on the plant. So let me go ahead and get started with that, and then we can start processing this down further. All right, so I just got done removing all the large spines on this pad, and now I need to move on to my second step, and that's removing all the fine hairs. These fine hairs, when they get stuck in your hands and in your arms, they're very uncomfortable in the field. They can cause some pain and irritation, and not only that, they're extremely difficult to remove. So I need to do that right away, and I can use my knife to do this process, but I'm going to resort to primitive technology and kind of use what the Serrano natives did down here in the national park area, and that is using obsidian. As you can see here, I have a few river stones, volcanic material, and a piece of quartz, and one other thing, a piece of granite. So all these tools they would use, some of them they would trade with other tribesmen, such as the Kauai, but I did knock off a good chunk of obsidian here, and the first thing I want to do is pin this down and just start scraping the hairs by removing them, just like you see I'm doing here. Now we don't want to remove too much material because we got to get in there and slice it open to create a mouth on it, and that's what's going to hold our water. So this is all I do. I just kind of scrape it, work it around, and I want to make sure, like I said, I get all of these hairs removed. This larger stone I'll use to get down underneath it to remove some of the larger hairs. Just like that. So if I have a larger spine that I didn't get down underneath, I can just use this tool. And then I can continue on with my fine work. So a lot of the native peoples, such as the Serrano, the Kauai, the Chemehuevi, they didn't use just one tool for a certain task. They had multiple tools. As a matter of fact, they probably had twice the amount of tools that I'm using today to complete this task and to make a prickly pear cactus pad into a functional container. And remember, native peoples, their lives revolved around containers and water. So wherever the water was, you'll usually find a lot of native artifacts, petroglyph, mortar holes. I've even found metates out there. The metates are now in a museum, but it's interesting, to say the least, what you can find, and doing a little bit of homework on the native peoples to see what they used. They use this stuff every single day. I mean, we might get out here and practice a skill, but it was literally their lifestyle. Their life depended on these skills. They couldn't afford to make any errors at all. Very hard lifestyle, that's for sure. Okay, then I just check it, swipe my finger over it. It's good to go. So we got all these hairs removed. Now what I want to do is I want to move this cactus pad around just like this, and we can start working on this side. And I need to get in there once again with the larger stone. I can feel some heavy material down there, and I just want to get in just like this and knock that out. Once again, we do not want to dig at all. We want to do this very light. We don't want to muscle through it because that's going to tear this flesh and we're going to have a water leak. You know, today we take a lot of our stuff for granted. We can go to the grocery store and pick up a Nalgene bottle or a water bottle, and we don't realize how difficult it was years and years ago before this stuff was available. And I think in today's day and age, knowing how to do a lot of this stuff is critical. We don't know what's going to happen. We don't know what the future holds. So getting out there and practicing a lot of these traditional skills that I'm using today can end up saving you in the long run. Whether it be long term or you end up lost in the field and you need certain things such as this container to save your life. I mean, this thing can literally save your life. Not only can it hold water, but it can also disinfect water through pasteurization. And we have lots of cactus pads available in this area. We have, once again, these prickly pear cactus pads. We even have beaver tail cactus pads that we can use to hold this water and disinfect it as well. So like I said, this will definitely make water safe through pasteurization. So once again, using my medium stone to get in there and kind of knock some of this stuff loose. I don't need to get as deep to where I need to use this sharp piece of quartz. I can just lightly brush it. Okay, so this side is good. It's definitely ready, just like the other side. Now here's where it gets tricky. We need to get the rim of this pad, and this is where I'll usually like to wear some gloves. This is just a leather piece of gloves. Now the natives around this area did not have gloves. They used cotton, such as this cotton material that I'm using today, or they would once again use a stone to hold it up, or even another person to hold it up to where they can then start working on the rim of this cactus pad. So all I'm going to use is a stone. Since we're not going to throw on our gloves, I'm not going to use this cotton material. This can be quite tricky, as you can see. I'm just going to hold it with my hand and work really slow on this. We don't want to go fast. We want to work twice as slow, and we want to remove a lot of this. This is once again very, very critical to this process. If we have a leak on the side, it's all over. We do not have a container, so we don't have room to mess this up. We want to do it right, and we want to take our time. So even if this takes 1 to 2 hours to complete. It's well worth it, especially in a wilderness living, a survival situation. We cannot afford to make errors at all. It's a little bit too harsh on that, so I want this medium stone. There are quite a bit of hairs on this one. Right on the bottom is where you'll find the most, and you can see how clustered they get. They get very clustered, and you got to work a little bit longer on these ones. Sometimes I'll even leave them on because this bottom is so important. We don't want any leaks, like I said, so I don't want to remove them all completely. I don't want to damage this skin to where water leaks out the bottom. So I'm just going to do this a little bit more, kind of smooth these out. We are going to leave some hairs on them because, like I said, I want to make sure this is watertight. And plus, we will be grabbing mostly up top and around the sides, not on the bottom. That's where it would sit in the coals. And that should be good. So we'll go ahead and leave it off just like that. And now I'm going to start cutting the top open and slicing through the bottom. So let me show you how that's done right now. So what I do is I just set my tools to the side, and I'm definitely going to keep these tools. I'm sure I'll be using this once again. And I'm going to use my knife. With a piece of obsidian or a piece of quartz, it can be done, but I would be here for quite a while. So what I'm going to do is, like I said, just pull out my knife, and I'm going to simply slice the top open. Just like this. And I want to get this nice and flat. And even some of this material that I'm removing, we can eat it. This is completely edible. I usually like to harvest the fruits. The fruits are not only edible, but they're medicinal. They help control blood sugar and diabetes. So now at this point, we got the top removed, and here's where it can get very, very tricky and difficult. We want to make sure we are taking this slow. We want to make sure, once again, we're doing this right. And right in the center of this pad, I'm going to cut all the way down to the bottom. Very, very slow, once again. We don't want to rush this. We want to take little by little and make sure we're doing it right to where we are not puncturing the sides. So I usually like to look down the middle of this pad. And just slowly do it, just like this. So this prickly pear pad, it can definitely provide you with a little bit of moisture too. Can we drink it like regular water? Well, yeah, we can drink the fluids, but will it rehydrate us like water does? Absolutely not. Nothing beats water. All right, so this thing is ready to go. It is now complete. Now, one thing I usually like doing at this point is taking a stone or a piece of creosote or juniper, it can be anything, and wedging it at the top in the center to where it's going to widen up the mouth. But in this case, I'm just going to demonstrate how this holds water. So I will open up my Nalgene bottle and we'll fill it up. I won't fill it up right to the top so you can see there is no leaking whatsoever. And that should be good right there. So as you can see, no leaking out the bottom, no leaking on the sides, the front, the back. It is now watertight and I can start rehydrating. That is good. It even gives it a little bit of an earthy flavor to it with this Cactus Pad. Excellent tasting. I love the taste of prickly pear cactus. Once again, this is non-toxic. You can eat this plant. It is very, very good in taste, and once again, we can use it as a container. Native Americans all over the Southwest, as far as the West Coast, did use this to disinfect water and even transfer water from one camp to the other. So once again, we have the prickly pear cactus container. Excellent. All right, folks, so that's just about going to wrap things up for me today. Now, I did want to show you what this looks like with the stone placed directly in the center. You can see that it widens up this mouth, and once this starts drying, it'll stay that way to where I can then remove the stone and I have a wide mouth container. So with that, I do appreciate you joining me for this video. I'm Jeff with martinsurvival.com, and we'll see you in the next one.